Hi, hello, and welcome to my channel, friends. This is your Govindraj. Thank you very much for all your views, subscriptions, and likes on my channel, and also watching my previous videos. And today we are going to take up an important topic for discussion, which is the necessity of further inquiry in the case of sexual harassment of women at workplace after the receipt of the recommendations from the internal committee or the local committee. To find this answer, we have to resort to the provisions of the law as well as any interpretations from the high courts or the Honorable Supreme Court. See why this question is very important, because we have seen some of the interpretation where some of the courts have held that even though the recommendations are given by the internal committee or the local committee, so they felt it is only a fact finding authority. So therefore, if there are service rules are available, then the procedure needs to be adhered, which is as per the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, which is Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013. So now we are going to discuss in detail about this topic. So as I said, we have to find the answers from the provisions of the law and also look into certain interpretations. And before we proceed, we need to know what is the inquiry process needs to be followed. So now let's look into the provisions of the law. If there are service rules in the company and the respondent is an employee, then the inquiry should be as per the process explained in the service rules. And if there are no service rules in the company and the respondent is an employee, then the inquiry should be done or conducted as per the rules prescribed under the Act. There are central rules which are prescribed under the Act, and there is a very detailed process is explained, and that process needs to be adhered in case of inquiry in the case of sexual harassment of women at workplace. And more than anything in these cases, the principles of natural justice to be followed during the entire process of inquiry. And now let's get into our dominant question, which is further inquiry necessary after submission of recommendations from the internal committee or the local committee, whichever is applicable. Now let's look into what was the situation before the 2013 Act, which I already mentioned about it. See, in the case of Medha, Kotwal, Lele and others versus Union of India, the Honorable Apex Court held that the findings and the report of the Complaints Committee shall not be treated as a mere preliminary investigation or inquiry leading to a disciplinary action, but shall be treated as a finding or report in an inquiry into the misconduct of the delinquent. So that means this is the final report. There is no further inquiry. And also the Honorable Apex Court in this case directed to carry out similar amendments to Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act 1946. And this is the situation before 2013. And the Honorable Apex Court took this matter and clarified, because there were certain issues, and also gave certain directions to the governments. But after the 2013 Act, the situation has changed, because there are provisions are put in the Act, and there are detailed process and rules are provided. And if you look at section 13.3, it talks about certain provisions. If the allegation is proved, the LC or the IC, which is internal committee or the local committee, can recommend to the employer or the district officer to take action for sexual harassment as a misconduct in accordance with the provisions of the service rules applicable to the respondent, or where no such service rules have been made as per the rules prescribed under the Act. So this is where the doubt arises. And also, as I told you, under section 11.1, then it says the inquiry process should be as per the service rules. See, the service rules is nothing but, in the case of workers, it is a standing orders, and if they are not, the respondent is not a worker, then if the employer has made service rules which talks about conditions of service. So this is very simple, and the doubt arises because of the provisions of section 11.1 and section 13.3 of the Act. So recently, if you look at the Honorable Calcutta High Court held that provisions of the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013 and the service rules of the employer reveal that where service rules exist, the report of Internal Complaint Committee was a fact-finding report or preliminary report about the allegations, and the employer would be bound to then proceed under the service rules before imposing any major penalty upon the delinquent employee. And punishment straight away on the basis of Internal Complaint Committee findings or recommendations cannot be accepted, since it would be in violation of principles of natural justice and principles governing the service rules. So this is the interpretation which is recently in 2019 given by the Honorable Calcutta High Court. I have also given the case law details citation for you, so you can go and refer this. So based on the provisions of section 11.1 and 13.3, so what is our conclusion? The conclusion is the inquiry or the further inquiry is not necessary if the inquiry is conducted in accordance with the service rules where exists, or inquiry process specified in the service rules is adopted by the IC. So the provisions are very clear. If there are service rules and the inquiry procedure is explained in the service rules, then the inquiry should be in accordance with the service rules or the standing orders, whatever the case it is applicable. And inquiry process specified in the service rules or standing orders, if it is adopted by the IC, then there is no separate inquiry or further inquiry is necessary. And more than anything, principles of natural justice are required to be followed during the entire process of inquiry. I am not getting into what is principles of natural justice, what are the principles to be followed, because then it takes me for longer duration of this video. So I will talk about this in further videos. And if there are no service rules, then the case is very clear as the procedure as prescribed under the rules to be followed. So under the rules which is appended or which are made in accordance with the provisions of the Act, the rules are provided and the procedure is detailed. That process needs to be followed. So now we are very clear about whether further inquiry is not necessary or it is necessary based on the provisions of the law as well as the recent interpretations. Friends, see, this topic, sexual harassment of women at workplace, is very sensitive and it can also create havoc and very serious consequences for all the people who gets into these kind of issues, even for the employer, the aggrieved woman and the respondent. Therefore, it is important that everybody is aware of and they take care of the responsibilities and also the interest and dignity of the woman at workplace. So, and under the Act, there are very significant responsibilities are provided for the employers, managers and committees. And this topic needs a detailed discussion and deliberation. So therefore, I have prepared 2 modules to educate the professionals and also who all concerned, and one of the responsibility on the employer is also sensitize and give proper awareness on a periodical basis. So therefore, the awareness program for all employees is also required. So based on this requirement of law, considering the requirement of professionals, I have prepared 2 programs. One is a detailed 4-hour module for HR, IR, admin and internal committee or local committee members, managers and employers who are all required to know. And another program is, I have prepared an awareness program which is around 1 hour for all the employees, and these modules or these courses will be made available online very shortly. I will keep you all informed whenever these are hosted in the online. So friends, all your comments, share, like and also feedback are all of very high importance and value for me. So therefore, please continue to comment and also share these videos and like without fail, and continue to give me all your feedback. And if you have any clarifications or doubts, my coordinates are already provided here. I will be happy to come back to you based on my timelines. And thank you very much and see you soon. Be safe always. Thank you again.